Alright, so the first thing you want to do is disconnect the battery terminal. Then you want to take the airbag off and just turn the steering wheel 90 degrees, and you're going to have to take off these clips that you can see in the back of the airbag. You really have to pry down on a clip and pull the airbag towards you with a lot of your might. This actually probably was the longest part of this whole ignition key removal. Then once you have that off, take the airbag sensor out here. You are going to pry the plastic piece up. Now you are able to remove the steering wheel lock. This is a 12-point German tool, link in the description below. Just be cautious and remember the steering wheel is aligned right here with these 2 points. Please reinstall them exactly the same. So there's also a pin here that goes into this little module there, but this is called the spring recoil. Take it off. Make sure you guys tape it down so it doesn't move, because then you will have other issues. Remove the bottom screw holding the plastic piece on the bottom, and now you can pull this whole thing away, which leaves us to the ignition module. Use another German tool right here to remove this little bolt here, and now you will be able to remove this little module with a couple clips and sensors. So we're going to pull it down, and we got 2 sensors here, clips in the back. The red one, you have to pull the red piece out first, and then once you pull the red piece out, you're going to press on the tab here and you can pull this whole assembly out. The yellow one you just pull out, no problem. Now this is what we are looking at the module. Again, these are where the sensors clip in to the back. Now the whole thing will also clip in here. There's some tabs right over here that you have to press in order to drop this piece. There's 2 tabs. Here's the second one that you have to press in order to drop this from the ignition module, and then at that point this is what you are left with. Now this is the second hardest part, or it could be the first. These bolts that go in here are just a nightmare to remove. As you can see, I gave myself some more space by burning some of that plastic. These are the screws that I removed, and I had to really drill them out. I had to drill them out. There's really no other option. The German technology is so crazy, but this is the screw that you are working with. There's no nut on top of it that you can put on it, so I used a left-handed drill bit set to drill a hole, and then I was finally able to remove those 2 stubborn screws from hell. I used this piece once I made a little incision with the smaller drills, and essentially using the drill, turning it leftward, I was able to finally take those bolts out from the module there. And then once you have these bolts off, once I have these bolts off, then later I used a cutoff wheel to just cut a straight line in them so I can tighten them later when I reinstall them. But once those bolts are out, you can take this whole assembly out, and your ignition module is actually connected right over here on the bottom of this assembly, which you have to clip out from the black housing just by pressing on some tabs on each end. That will unclip the ignition cylinder from the housing. Now at this point, when you have everything off, you can go fix your ignition cylinder. Check out my video on part 1 or 2, and you will see how I fixed the ignition module for free on this Volkswagen product. Not a dime. The dealer wanted $1,000. But at that point, see, with the cut on those screws, I am able to tighten them back down, reuse these screws, checking the ignition control cylinder. Everything works perfectly at this point. Again, check out that previous video to learn how to fix it. I'm reinstalling the steering wheel right now, making sure I'm aligning it properly. I made some marks on the steering wheel so I know I am centered. Put your screw back in with the 12 point. Just tighten it down by hand as tight as you can with, a socket obviously, and then tighten some of the screws that go on the plastic pieces, and then finally you can reinstall the airbag, put the sensor back in the clip, and then just push it back in. It will clip on and you are good to go. The removal of this whole product takes quite a long time. Again, removing the airbag and drilling out those screws were the hardest parts of this whole project, and it took a lot of time and aggravation, but at the end of the day we fixed the ignition module for free. So hope this video helps you guys.
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true.